You want to see a magic trick? Watch a legendary German company make 4 billion euros disappear. In the first 9 months of 2024, Porsche made 4.04 billion euros in operating profit. In the same period of 2025, 40 million euros. That is not a typo. That is a 99% collapse. We aren't talking about a bad quarter. We are talking about a company that went from printing money to essentially breaking even, a 0.2% operating margin. A lemonade stand run by a toddler has better margins than Porsche right now. They're calling it a trough year. I call it a reality check from hell. Let's look at the financials, and viewer discretion is advised because this is gruesome. In 2024, Porsche was a fortress, 40 billion euros in revenue, 5.6 billion euros profit, healthy 14% margins. Fast forward 1 year. Revenue is down 6% to 26.8 billion euros, but the profit? Vaporized. Where did the money go? Well, they lit 3.1 billion euros on fire for extraordinary expenses. They spent 2.7 billion euros trying to flexibilize their product portfolio and fix their battery division. That is corporate speak for, we panicked and had to rebuild everything. They sold 212,000 cars, only down 6%, but they made almost zero money doing it. That is a special kind of incompetence. If you want to know where the bleeding started, look east. China used to be Porsche's sugar daddy. In 2021, they bought a third of everything Porsche made. But today? That relationship is over. By 2024, sales dropped to 56,000. In 2025, they are on track for maybe 43,000. That is a 50% collapse in 4 years. Porsche is literally closing up shop, slashing their dealership network from 144 stores down to 80 by next year. They are packing their bags and retreating. Why? Because the Chinese consumer looked at a Porsche, looked at the price tag, and started laughing. Here is the uncomfortable truth. German engineering heritage doesn't matter when your tech feels like it's from 2015. In China, you can buy an XPeng G6 or a high-end BYD for $25,000 to $30,000. These cars have better autonomous driving, better batteries, better software, and better integration than a Porsche Taycan that costs 4 times as much. Young, wealthy Chinese buyers aren't stupid. When they see a Porsche, they don't see status. They see a ripoff. As one analyst brutally put it, Porsche is finished in China. Brand prestige is dead. Intellectual status is the new currency. Old luxury was, look at my watch, I have money. New luxury is, look at my decision, I have a brain. We have shifted from conspicuous consumption to intellectual status. If you buy a Porsche Taycan for 100,000 euros, when a 30,000 euros Chinese EV is technically superior, you don't look rich. You look financially illiterate. You look like a mark. In the age of information, we can all see the specs. Overpaying for a badge isn't a flex anymore. It's a sign that you didn't do your homework. Porsche looked at Tesla and said, we can do that. And they did, but financially, it's a black hole. To make that money back, they needed volume. They needed to sell these things like Civics. Let's look at the scoreboard versus the king of luxury, Ferrari. Ferrari sells roughly 13,000 cars a year. Porsche sells 300,000. But Ferrari makes 136,000 euros in profit on every single car they sell. Their margins are nearly 40%. Porsche, in 2023, they made about 22,000 euros per car. Now, they are making pennies. You have to sell 6 Porsches to make the profit of 1 Ferrari. That is not a luxury business. That is a volume business masquerading as luxury. Ferrari understands the game. Scarcity is value. They tell people no. Porsche? They got greedy. They wanted to sell to everyone. They wanted the SUV moms, the mid-level managers, and the track enthusiasts. They squeezed themselves into the middle, too expensive to compete with BYD on value, not exclusive enough to compete with Ferrari on prestige. So what have we learned from Porsche lighting their balance sheet on fire? Rule number 1, charge for intelligence, not just the badge. If your product is technically inferior to the cheap alternative, you are dead. Rule number 2, optimize for margin, not revenue. Who cares if you sell 300,000 cars if you make 40 million euros profit? That is pathetic. Be Ferrari. Sell fewer things to richer people at higher margins. Subscribe or your portfolio will look like Porsche's Q3.